Welcome to another episode of Behind the Book, the sports betting series sweeping the nation.
Sweeping the nation.
Sweeping the nation. Gil Alexander from the Vegas Stats and Information Network. Jay Rude, Vice President of Race and Sports, MGM Resorts International. Hello, sir.
How are you?
Doing well. We're here at the lovely Park MGM.
Yeah, where they're training for the UFC fight coming up. You can hear it in the background.
Yeah, normally it's like Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga, or as the kids call her, Gaga.
Okay.
But, you know, they're training for UFC back here.
It's like Rocky hitting the meat back there.
It's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
So if you hear the noise, that's what's happening here. Later on the show, Megan OLIVI from Fox Sports 1, who covers UFC. She's going to be with us.
That should raise our ratings.
It should. The fights are right over there, Jay, on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's going to be
T-Mobile Arena.
It's a great card, actually.
It is.
Good card.
Want to talk football first?
Let's talk some football, yeah. A good matchup.
College football, probably the marquee game. There's a few games between ranked teams. But in the SEC, LSU at Florida. LSU favored by 2.5 on the road. We don't have a total posted yet on the PLAYMGM app, but I would imagine this might be the lowest total in college football this weekend. I have a sneaking suspicion. Alabama, obviously, great in the western part of the SEC. You got Georgia and Kentucky on the east, but this is a 5-0 LSU team against a 4-1 Florida team. And the first thing I always ask you, and I'm going to ask it to you until I get the response I want for these SEC games, are you seeing a ridiculous amount of action down at Beau Rivage and Tunica?
Yeah, I mean, it's steady. I mean, we're really doing really good numbers down there. A good amount of support for the local teams. You know, last week you had Mississippi State playing this Florida team. That had to be a game that both of them kind of had circled, right?
Yeah.
Mississippi State obviously wanting revenge on their old coach. Their old coach obviously not even wanting to lose to his old team. So I think that actually is a handicapping factor in this game with LSU, because I think possibly there was maybe a little bit more attention paid to that game than to this game. And, it's not going to be easy to turn around and get ready for LSU right after a big emotional game.
It's a game that means so much, obviously, to the alumni of both schools and obviously to everybody betting it. Our own Matt Brown, when he flies over Tiger Stadium down there in LSU, he remembers all the great things he used to do in that stadium. That's how much it means to him.
Beer bong, whatever, all that kind of crazy stuff.
Name it. He loves it. But here's the deal. Joe Burrow, who has been, how can I put this, effective as LSU's quarterback, against Auburn, 15 of 35 for 249. 15 of 35 against Miami, 11 of 24. But the story with these two teams is the last 4 games have been decided by a touchdown or fewer points. And you have in Burrow a guy who has not thrown one pick. The problem for him is that Florida also, they're ball hawks. Turnover margin, they have been wonderful in the SEC and really in the nation. They're 3rd best in the nation in turnover margin, 5th best in the nation in takeaways, and they don't turn the ball over. They only have 3 giveaways on the season, so something's got to give in terms of who's going to fork over the football to the other team. Yeah,
I mean, I think from a betting perspective, we're going to need the dog in this particular matchup, the home dog. And if you look at this game almost looks like a game that we just saw, a matchup we just saw, the Ravens and the Steelers, right? I mean, tough, really low scoring expected game. Should play within one possession. So we're going to probably need the Florida dog in this point because I think we will see regional bias in Mississippi on this game on LSU for sure because they're playing so well and it's a short price, 2.5.
That's what I'm looking for. So it gets the 3?
Could be. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it hasn't done much as of yet, but if we do see that bias, it might get to 3 in Mississippi. It might stay 2.5 here.
That's what I was looking for.
We'll see what happens.
3 one place, 2.5
This could be a
elsewhere.
game that could really, that could be the first time we visit this situation.
I'm saying these SEC games, eventually we are going to get to that. Maybe it's this week between LSU and Florida. That's on Saturday afternoon. LSU, undefeated LSU, favored by 2.5 right here on Behind the Book, brought to you by the PLAYMGM app. Back on Behind the Book here from the lovely Park MGM Theater. Bruno Mars performs here. Lady Gaga with the residency. I've seen Stevie Wonder here downstairs.
Cher was here.
Cher, of course.
All
you
big names.
went to see Cher here.
Yeah,
was that enjoyable?
I did not come see Cher here, actually. No. I'm so busy working and hustling for this company, and now that we've got sports betting everywhere, I don't have a minute to do anything except come and hang out with you like once a week.
You don't like hanging out here with me?
I do, but that's about all I got, all the free time I have.
If you ever come to Vegas, you want to see a great concert in a very nice, intimate venue, Park MGM is your spot. Right now, they've got some UFC training downstairs. That's why all the noise is here.
We got a fight here at the end of the week, or the end of the month, too,
We
I
do.
think.
We'll talk Conor McGregor and KHABIB coming up on the show.
Yes.
But let's talk some pro football first.
Okay.
The marquee matchup of the week, dare I say, Jay, is between the Jacksonville Jaguars, the 3-1 Jaguars, and the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. Patrick Mahomes, for the entire world to see on Monday Night Football, was unbelievable.
Yep.
Cannon arm, elusive, avoiding the rush. Kansas City favored by a field goal, 48.5 on the total.
Yep.
This is not going to get off the 3, is it?
Probably not. I mean, although, you know, with the injury news coming out with Fournette not going to be in this, there's a possibility that we see, you know, some fairly one-sided action from the general public on Kansas City on this particular matchup. But I think the Sharp community will probably keep us fairly honest on that 3, so probably not going to move it. So me saying that, every time we've said that so far in every segment this year, it's shot and through. Like, it'll probably be 4.5 for sure.
You have many strengths, Jay. Predicting line movement, perhaps not one of them.
Not one of them, yeah. That's why I collect the check and manage the liability.
I will say this. I didn't take a position on the LSU-Florida game and the college football segment before this, but I am taking a position here. I'll be on the Jaguars.
Surprise.
Yeah, what it really comes down to for me is you have maybe the best defense in football when all is said and done, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I get the Blake Bortles thing. It should be stated, though, that Blake Bortles, over 375 yards passing 2 of the last 3 weeks. So maybe we should quit with the Blake Bortles.
Blake does
jokes.
Blake does.
Blake do what Blake do, as Jalen Ramsey once said
That's right.
famously. But I like the fact that Jacksonville's got the great D, and Kansas City's defense, even at 4-0, is a sieve. Give me the Jaguars and the points.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just kind of explained that. I think the public's going to be on Kansas City, especially off a scintillating primetime game.
Yep.
And I think the Sharp community, the wiser guys, are going to be backing Jaguars, even maybe at 3. But I think, you know, if they might sit and wait and see what the public's going to do to push this number up. They might get 3 even, maybe, for sure.
Yeah.
But 3.5.
Give me the hook.
I would be reluctant to offer the hook in a defensive, possibly a defensive team that can control the points as well as they do.
Yeah. Jay, not going to the hook, not going to the 3.5 is what that means. Jacksonville at Kansas City. Can't wait for that game. I'll be on the Jaguars. If Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs win this one, that might be the last time I go against the Chiefs. Jaguars-Chiefs Sunday afternoon, right here on Behind the Book. Back on Behind the Book, Gil Alexander from VSiN, Jay Rude, Vice President, Race and Sports. MGM Resorts International. Jay, if our views go up this week, chances are it's not because of you or me.
Well, if it's the 65 to 75-year-old ladies, it will be.
That's
but
true.
Our normal demographic.
We still got that.
But we might draw some new ones in with our guests this evening.
We are joined today, and thank you for joining us, by Megan OLIVI. She is the host of UFC's Ultimate Insider on Fox Sports 1, also a reporter for all things UFC, and this just in, also on the sideline for Fox's NFL coverage. How was that, first of all?
It's really fun. Yeah, it's a different world, but it's a new challenge. So I'm up for it. I'm really enjoying it.
When the players now, this thing now is where they don't look you in the eye, they're looking away for their thoughts. Are you like, I'm right here?
No, I'm used to that. And plus, I'm like 2 feet
I was gonna say,
below
looking
them,
her in the
so
eye
it's
would be
really
maybe the punter.
It's really okay.
Yeah,
Yes, I did interview the Raiders kicker, and we were like eye to eye.
Right
it was
there.
great. It was great.
Nice. Well, we're here to talk UFC 229 with you. Obviously, there is a co-main event we want to get to. But first, the co-main event, let's start with, is Anthony Pettis, Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson on the betting line, minus 340. Pettis at plus 260. Now, I am not a UFC guy.
Okay.
So you're going to have to talk to me like I'm a 2-year-old here. But the buzz that I hear is that Pettis, after having gotten punched in the face last time, is a little shakier than he ever was before headed into this fight, at least in training.
Oh, I don't know about his training. I'm not sure, but I feel like Tony Ferguson's been out for almost exactly a year. It'd be 364 days. And Anthony Pettis, he had a tough fight against Michael Chiesa, but he was able to finish him in his last one this summer. So I actually think it's a really fun matchup. It's a matchup that traditionally Anthony, you might see him not want to take because he doesn't love fighting wrestlers, but he just fought a wrestler in Michael Chiesa and finished him. So I think that his confidence is actually going to be pretty high going into this one, and I think Tony is just looking to prove a point getting back in there after an injury.
Everybody training back here at the Park MGM where we're filming today. Jay, for UFC, for MMA fights in general, do you find that the public bettor is more apt to bet on a dog than they would be, say, in another sport?
If the dog is a name and is live. Yes, they're more apt to hit the big dog here, like a $4 dog. They won't shy away from that. Whereas in boxing, you'll get like a $10 bet on a $4 dog, but I'll get $5,000 bets on a $4 dog in MMA all the time. So the dog will bring in bigger bets than traditionally you do get in boxing.
Okay. So
unless the dog is Conor McGregor.
Well,
and then we take off a large big bets.
And that's the live dog I want to talk about. The co-main event that most folks are talking about, obviously, KHABIB Nurmagomedov against Conor McGregor.
Yes.
KHABIB, who we'll refer to from now on as just KHABIB, minus 180 here. Conor McGregor plus 150. When last we saw Conor McGregor, Megan, he was fighting Floyd Mayweather, and as Jay will attest to, it was the most amazing betting event ever. It was unanticipated. A flood of money coming in on Conor McGregor. So Megan, you're the astute observer here. This fight, again, just a guy who's hearing the buzz on this fight. Everybody I've talked to, without exception, they say Conor McGregor has no shot here. It's all about KHABIB. Do you see it that way?
No, I think, that's why these matchups are made. The UFC is not necessarily known for making these real one-sided matchups here. Conor McGregor's left hand can put anyone down.
At any time.
Yeah, at any time. I mean, and that's what we're looking at here. KHABIB, he's fought southpaws before. We've seen him get hit by southpaws before. He's a dominant wrestler and grappler. That's where he wins his fights. But we watch this sport because anything can happen, and it literally takes one punch to change the course of a fight. And I think that saying that Conor has no sort of chance, that's absolutely absurd. That this is going to be a good fight. I think there are several ways that this could go, but he certainly does have a chance to win, and win in a definitive fashion.
This will perhaps even make you more upset, because the other buzz I hear is that folks are saying, well, Conor's got this 8-fight deal now, and by virtue of that deal alone, he obviously has to have the old puncher's chance, because are they really going to have him lose this? People who think these things are sort of decided beforehand, that he'll get every chance. You don't see that.
Oh my God, definitely not decided beforehand.
Yeah.
I can tell you that much. The little incident happened earlier this year that led to this fight.
Yes.
So it wasn't like this was even something that, they have been talking about forever and they needed some hype. Something personal led to this matchup happening. And knowing Conor McGregor as well as I do, I mean, you saw him lose to Nate Diaz and then be obsessed with that rematch. So this isn't something where, he's going in there hoping to lose or just hoping to get paid. He's going in there 100% confident that he's going to get the victory here. I don't think this will be the last time we see them match up in their careers, but I certainly think that they're going to have a good competitive fight, and the heat between them is very real.
Jay, do you see the betting action working out the same way? Do you see a lot of Conor money late?
Well, you are seeing a lot of Conor tickets right now. Ticket count is about 5-1 in favor of Conor right now, but the larger money has decidedly come in on KHABIB. I mean, the people with the deep pockets are backing KHABIB in this particular matchup. Not to say that there's not going to be a flood of Conor money come in late. I think Conor is absolutely coming into this fight with the intent to reestablish himself as the badass in the UFC again. Because I think he feels like some of that has slipped away and people have forgot about him. So I think he's coming in wanting to do that again. And he has his backers. He's always had his backers.
Megan, what's your day like after this? You go interview some guys now?
Yeah, so I'll be hosting the open workouts, which are open to the public. So Conor, KHABIB, Pettis, and Ferguson will all be there. And we'll interview them on stage and have some fun.
Megan OLIVI from Fox Sports 1, UFC, and now a little NFL as well. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming by.
More football on the way right here on Behind the Book, live from Park MGM, brought to you by the PLAYMGM app. Back on Behind the Book from the Park MGM here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Gil Alexander from VSiN, Jay Rude, Vice President, Race and Sports, MGM Resorts International, Atlanta at Pittsburgh, Jay.
Yes.
Atlanta at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh favored by 3. I do a show at VSiN called The Guessing Line Show, an old tribute to the old Stardust show of the same name.
Yep.
Roxy Roxbury used to host it. And I guessed this to be less than 3. I couldn't believe when it came out, Pittsburgh with a full 3. The total is the highest on the board in the National Football League this weekend at 57, largely because these defenses, how can I put this, aren't good at football.
They suck, yeah. I mean, everyone's anticipating that this is going to be, just an up and down kind of sort of thing, but sometimes best laid plans go crazy, and I guarantee you the defensive coordinators are taking heat on both sides of this matchup, and they are paying extra special attention to what's going on. That being said, probably going to score 80 points in this matchup. Well, I think that could possibly be our biggest decision on this particular matchup, is the public betting this game over.
Interesting.
Just hooking it into every single parlay, hooking it to all kinds of teasers. They're going to bring it down to 50. Ooh, 51. Yeah. That looks like a lock, So I think this is going to be teased. This is going to be parlayed. Now the side, generally, I think everyone has the public has a very down opinion of Atlanta on the road.
Yeah.
And obviously everybody has a very public opinion that Steelers are much better at home. So this looks like it's going to be we're going to need Atlanta and the under, and we'll see what happens. I really would like to see this game stay like 48.
The Falcons are not at home here, but I want to wow you with the stat, Jay. Since 1940, this comes from Scott Kazmar over at Football Outsiders. Since 1940, teams that have scored 36 or more points at home without turning the ball over, straight up, 402-4. Do you know what the Falcons are this year? They've contributed an 0-2 to that. 402-4 since 1940. The Falcons, because of that defense, and by the way, it's not their fault. Deion Jones is out. Keanu is out. Keanu Neal. And there are more injuries. There's cluster injuries in that secondary. So it really isn't their fault, but you would assume a lot of scoring here. But Le'Veon Bell not walking through that door, not quite yet for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No, but I mean, if he did, it might actually set up for a little bit better of an under. But, I would hope that the Steelers would pound Connor at this team, control the clock, burn some time, and, we end up with a score less than 65.
Didn't work for the Steelers second half against the Ravens on Sunday night. Only 47 yards of offense in the second half. But the Falcons' defense is not the Ravens' defense. We'll see what happens. Sure. This is a huge game for both teams. The Falcons are 1-3. The Steelers are 1-1. Whoever loses this one, to say they're behind the 8 ball would be the understatement.
Absolutely.
We'll see what happens. Pittsburgh by 3. Total 57. Sunday afternoon right here behind the book. Brought to you by the PLAYMGM app. Back on Behind the Book, Gil Alexander from VSiN, Jay Root, Vice President, Race and Sports, MGM Resorts International. I said Jacksonville, Kansas City was the marquee matchup of the NFL weekend. Maybe not. Maybe it's Minnesota and Philadelphia, rematch of the NFC Championship game. Philadelphia stomping the Vikings 38-7. Eagles favored here at Philly by 3. Totals 45. Minnesota's 1-1. Philly not much better at 2-2, but the loser of this game, just like the Atlanta-Pittsburgh game we talked about earlier, in deep trouble.
Yeah, I mean, the loser of this game, there's going to be some adjustments to the futures market for sure. To whoever, whichever team loses there, their chances of being really successful and deep into the playoffs is going to take a big hit. But I think in this particular matchup, what we're going to need from our side of the counter, I think a lot of people are going to be bet on the Eagles, the home team. I think we're going to see a lot of bias in the New Jersey market for sure. We're going to see a lot of bias at the Borgata, and we're going to see it on the PlayMGM app. So, you're always fishing for, are we going to see a different line in different jurisdictions? Possibly, because the action is very heavy on NFL in New Jersey, so it could drive some particular action in this
maybe a 3.5 at Borgata.
3 minus 20 maybe.
More likely the LSU-Florida game has a different line.
I think so.
Okay. All right, there it is, Minnesota-Philadelphia. Eagles favored by 3. I'm taking the Vikings. I think the Eagles' pass rush is not what it was. I'm taking the Vikings plus the 3. As always, the show Behind the Book brought to you by the PlayMGM app. We shouldn't just skirt over that issue. Best way to bet. Takes you about 8 minutes to sign up for it, and then you get to bet at your leisure.
It keeps getting longer and longer to sign up. It's like literally 4 minutes probably to sign up. But it gives you opportunity to bet in-game, which I think is a high-value proposition for a lot of people. Depending if you just want the action or you forgot the game was going to start, you can get in action. But 2, things unfold much differently than you anticipate sometimes. So, it's a good way to either strengthen your position or get off your position.
Or get off your position, something you can't do pre-flop, as they say. For Jay Root, Vice President, Race and Sports, MGM Resorts International, I'm Gil Alexander, host of a numbers game at VSiN, Sirius XM Channel 204. Thanks for watching, as always. Thanks to everybody at Park MGM. UFC 229, Fight Week behind us. That's what all the noise is about. We cannot wait for McGregor and Khabib this weekend. Good luck with all your bets, whether it's UFC or football. And thanks for watching so much. As always, Behind the Book brought to you by the PlayMGM app.